forgiven for murder, you will not be forgiven for pickpocketing my iPhone. And that is a contradiction in our criminal justice system. Well, and for years, women have married of their choice. And what is, again, quite strange is that all our folklores, each one of them is about passionate love, which people sing, and how the man who stops the two lovers from meeting is always considered to be the evil man. And yet, when this young woman of 22-year-old woman goes and gets married to a professor, her family takes her to court. Now, with every case that you do, it's not that you win or lose the case, you learn a lot more. For example, I thought to myself, how cruel can people be wanting a 14-year-old boy to be hung? I mean, how can anybody want that? And I saw that people actually not only want that, they were looking for that blood, So it really did, it was an eye-opener for me in many ways. Similarly, the case of Saima Wahid, it was not the fact that this girl had got married and that her family was protesting, but that the judges of the High Court were outraged at the fact that I was actually taking up the case, to the extent that the Chief Justice of that court called one of the police or security persons and said, why doesn't he go and arrest my 16-year-old daughter who was studying in Ladies Cheltenham College in London, because the children at that time had threats, so I had put them there. Put her daughter, he said, in prison, and she will know what women's rights is all about. And this policeman actually went, he told me this, he said he folded both his hands and said to him, I can't do that because I knew her father, and I will never do that. So the policeman had more integrity than the Chief Justice of our court. And I still find, and even to this day, that if the judiciary in Pakistan had a little bit more integrity than they do, we wouldn't have been in the state that we are today. For 1.5 years, I mean, the allegation that they made against me was that my 16-year-old girl had kidnapped this girl, and I was asking ransom money from her. And I will put the story short because they actually tried to kidnap that girl and produce her before a friendly judge where she would accuse me, but it didn't happen. We stopped it. We had to physically fight the people who came to get her with chairs and tables. I don't know whether you were there, Salim, that time or not, and really resist them. And then finally, one of the judges called her to the house, to his house, and took her statement. And that is how at least I could sleep at night thinking that there's going to be no allegations against me. Now, for 1.5 years, this case was argued. And for 1.5 years, this woman spent in a shelter home with the orders of the court that she is not to leave the shelter home, that no one has to meet her. So can you imagine that in this day and age, punishment for a woman to get married on her own free will? And it was subsequently, after 1.5 years, that 2 judges out of 3, with a lot of pressure from public, because there was a lot of press on it, women rights activists used to come there every day for the hearing, and then right-wing parties also started sending women to the court. And the judge said to me, well, surely women are divided on this issue. And I said, no, we are not, because we are committed, and we will continue to come to court till the end. They are not committed. They've been told to come. And they will come for 3 days, they will not be here the 4th day. And true enough, they were not there the 4th day. And the women who were committed, they kept multiplying, and there were more and more women activists who were coming, or concerned women who were coming, to not only give moral support to this girl, but to the issue. That girl now lives in Norway. Now that is my regret, that you do these cases for these people, They do get their rights, but they then lose a certain freedom of having to live in the same country. She has now 2 children, and she speaks perfect Norwegian, and her children as well. So she's now in Norway and alive.
So as you said,